Welcome to episode 6 of Two-Dimensional Champions. And today, instead of doing how is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon, we're going to surprise everybody with Jurassic World today, much to the delight of Thaddeus.
Aha! Just kidding.
Because you loved it.
No,
right?
I fucking hated that. Why is it so good? Like, why does it have those reviews? Sweet Mary.
So this is Julian and Thaddeus, and episode 6, and we just before we get started, I just wanted to tell everybody to send email to twodimensionalchampions@gmail.com for recommendations for what we should watch next. And the next episode will be, just for everybody's information, will actually be, is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? So if you're very sad we didn't cover that, and you're even more brokenhearted that we were gone for 2 weeks. Unannounced.
That little thing.
Yeah, that minor detail there.
Fucking real life shenanigery happened.
Yes, we promise we will do everything to...
Yeah. So How to Pick Up Girls will be coming out soon. Right.
Yes.
We're trying to catch up from the delay.
Yeah, there was this... Well, I don't know if it's really correct to say it was a surprise trip, but it was definitely a surprise trip and how crazy it was. So I wasn't able to record. So that was on me.
Do you know it wasn't a surprise? How shitty this movie was? That wasn't a surprise to me at all. It's like, let's watch Jurassic World, they said. It'll be good, they said.
Yes. So it's been, I think, 15 years since the last Jurassic Park movie. And that was...
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's been other sequels, because I honestly only knew about the original Jurassic Park. I didn't know about 2 or 3. So I guess, to be fair, I'm not like a disclaimer. I'm not a hardcore Jurassic fan boy. I didn't even know that there were other movies.
The other important question is, are you a dinosaur fan?
I mean, I was when I couldn't walk, but then I grew up. Right, I mean, monsters are cool, but yeah. I mean,
but big stomping toothy things just don't pull you in.
Well, I mean, if they're cool, if they're bullshit, then I think they're bullshit. It's not like, I see something that looks like a T-Rex that's made out of like toothpicks and popsicle sticks, and I'm like, that's brilliant. Like, that isn't. I mean, this is of course the opposite. We saw CG and it still looks like bullshit to me. But it's the same. If it's not interesting, it's not interesting. That's all I can really say. To me, at least.
Yeah. So yeah, there's 2 movies before this one. So this is the 4th film. And Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World, was 1997. So just a few years after the original in 1993. I say that with a question mark, because I actually haven't seen it in a while. And the 3rd film came out in 2001, and that was... 3 was awful. I've only seen it once. I made the mistake of watching it in the theaters, and that was very sad. A lot of people... What's weird is a lot of people hate on the second one, but the second one compared to the third one, this is...
So Jurassic, just because I don't actually know, Jurassic Park, the original, was well received, I think, right?
Oh yeah, it's a classic.
But the second and the third, not so much. Yeah,
the second and the third are... the first one is safely considered a cinema classic. I mean, it's a great Steven Spielberg film.
I had nightmares on that one.
Yeah, I mean, really, it was scary. It was exciting. I mean, nobody had ever seen dinosaurs like that. I mean, the CG was amazing for its time. It was also even
animatronics, right? It wasn't like...
Yeah, I mean, there's CG, but mostly animatronic. Yeah, and so I think part of the reason why it holds up so well is because of that. I mean, it's real.
Yeah.
I mean, for all intents and purposes.
Yeah. I almost, part of me was sort of wished that, they didn't have all of the Mercedes. I know that they were sponsored by Mercedes. Why? Because every single car zoomed in on the Mercedes logo and Coca-Cola, et cetera, et cetera. And, just did animatronics. I'm assuming that would be less expensive than that sort of scale of CG that they did, but it seemed like...
Yeah, I mean, I know there's a small amount of practical effects in Jurassic World. I know the sauropod that was dying, that was real. There's little stuff like that, but mostly it was... Oh, so the long neck dinosaur, remember the emotional scene where they came across the field of dead plant-eating dinosaurs?
Right.
Yeah, so that one, the head was real, at least. I mean, but it was mostly, I would say like 95% CG.
For the record,
maybe
when you said emotional scene, I did air quotes, just for the record.
Yeah, well, I was doing air quotes too in my for that. I mean, yeah. So the first movie was a lot of practical effects, and again, like the classic scene of the raptors in the kitchen. There was a lot of CG in there.
Really?
But it looks great. I mean, it just looks really, really well done. Stan Winston did the practical effects. I mean, his studio did the dinosaurs, and Stan Winston is he's a legend in the special effects industry. He did the Alien Queen and the aliens from the second Alien movie. He's done all sorts of shit. I'd actually have to pull up actual information to bring up everything, but he's done tons of stuff. And so he died in between the third and the fourth films of Jurassic Park. So he actually had nothing to do with this movie. His studio, I think, still exists, and they worked on it. But the third film is the last movie that Stan Winston himself had anything to do with. And actually, the dinosaurs look better in the third movie than I think they do in this one. But the second movie is also directed by Steven Spielberg. It's
as
like I said,
first, right?
Yeah, yeah. He directed the first one.
Steven?
No, he produced this one and the third film. And the third film, I don't think he had much to do with it, so it was super shit. And this movie, he and Colin Trevorrow, I think is his name, the director of this one, they both had they were in close communication over the production of this film. So I think Spielberg really tried to, even though he wasn't directing it, really tried to have more creative influence over this, especially since it's Trevorrow's second movie. I mean, he's only done one movie before this one. I think it was a small independent film. Bring that up. But so it's actually similar to last year's Godzilla movie in the sense that this is the second big budget Hollywood, more or less monster movie that has a director who really nobody has heard of. Because Gareth Edwards did Godzilla last year, and the only movie he had done prior to that was a movie called Monsters, which he at least was in the same genre as Godzilla.
Right.
And he produced that himself, did all the special effects, and and then he went on, got a very nice raise when it came to Godzilla. So Colin Trevorrow, I don't know why he was picked, because I don't think the movie he did before this one was even... Yeah, he did something called Safety Not Guaranteed. Looks like he's done another movie called Home Base, but I don't know if that's... Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a short movie. Yeah. I mean, he hasn't done anything like this.
So, I mean, I guess good for him, because it was so, well received by... Or I guess it did well. But, so... Like,
yeah, I mean, let's just bring that up. It is still, nobody thought it would do very well. It's the number one in the movie. It's the number one movie in the world at the moment. And I think for 3 weekends straight, it's beat every other film by a huge margin. So it beat a Pixar film 2 weeks ago. Looks like it's going strong against Terminator Genesis, which is coming out this week. I mean, it just smashed Ted 2. I mean, it's taken out everything. So this movie, way more than just, I mean...
Although, keep in mind, these movies that you mentioned are movies I would not go and see. So, I almost wonder if it was like the perfect storm. Like, this movie just came out when everyone had, like, a free weekend, and they were like, I really want to go see the movie with, like, my family and stuff, so I guess I'll go see this. But,
yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, it's the fastest movie ever to hit $1 billion globally, and it's propelled, basically, it's Universal's best global year ever just for this month. So,
well,
Julian, I mean, yeah.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What did you think of the movie?
Yeah, so I wanted just to get the stats out of the way first before before we really got into the meat of this monster. So I like that. I liked it.
Okay.
But I there's a big but. A huge but.
And I must say, I like big butts, man.
I know, yeah. This is a gigantic but.
Okay.
It's a complicated subject with me because I love dinosaurs and really toothy monster movies an incredible amount. I'm so biased toward them that basically the best way to describe it is Jurassic World goes into a category that a lot of Godzilla movies are in for my brain,
right.
which is objectively it's not a good movie.
Right.
It's just it's not like
it's like Triage X, right?
Yeah,
like,
I mean that's
there's nothing about this that's good, but I'm gonna watch it anyway because I like it or whatever. Like,
yeah, kind of. It just there's Godzilla movies, most of them actually, I'd say, that are great movies if you're watching it for a certain. I mean, really, if you're watching it for explosions and monsters beating the shit out of each other, right. Then it's cool. But let's say Godzilla's Revenge, which is introduces. I don't think. Does it introduce Godzilla's son Minya? Anyway, that's a whole different conversation. Anyway,
so what have we done?
without getting down that rabbit hole, there's fun stuff in it. Is it fun for me? Yeah. Is it a good movie? No.
Okay.
It's not. It's not like Mad Max, where I'd be like, go see this fucking movie.
Right.
It's amazing. I mean, objectively amazing.
Right.
Like, actually a good movie. So Jurassic World, I love the dinosaur stuff. For me, it does the same thing most Godzilla movies do, which is I completely ignore the human parts of the movie, and really what I'm just watching is the 30 minutes of dinosaurs that are in it. And
you're like, should I take my money for these 30 minutes of dinosaurs?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, and that's what I usually do with Godzilla films, which is I go in with the expectation that the human story is going to be totally shite, and that since that's already been checked at the door, I'm really just looking at how the monsters are treated. And, I think generally the dinosaurs are really cool. Again, I think some of the CG is a little weird. I don't think they look as good as they did in, let's say, The Lost World, which, I mean, the dinosaurs look really good in that movie. But
is The Lost World...
that's the second one. Yeah. And so, for example, the T-Rex... Oh, also spoilers. We should also say that we're just going to spoil the shit out of this movie if you haven't seen it. So, so for me, the movie really earned its stripes in the last 10 minutes, which is just this huge, huge fight between the Indominus Rex and the T-Rex and the Raptors. And that if that scene wasn't in the movie... I just wouldn't like it as much, frankly. But that scene,
right.
I thought
it wouldn't have pleased your monster.
Yeah, exactly. So let's say the finale of the third film. So the Spinosaurus was the big bad guy in the third movie, and it basically ends with them lighting oil on fire, and it gets scared of the fire, and it's like, oh no, fire, and it runs away, and then Raptors pissed off at them, and then the Raptors chase them for a little while. It's just really, really, really dull. Like, there's really nothing... the second movie ends with the T-Rex rampaging through San Diego, which is really fun.
Right.
And, the first movie ends with that awesome fight between the Raptors and the T-Rex. So the first two have these kind of big set pieces that are just really exciting. And the third movie just doesn't do that. So for me, and also...
So it's really like you liked would you say that the climax fight scene was really like your main, like just why you enjoyed it was that last fight scene at the end? Yeah,
so it's like so last year's Godzilla movie blatantly did this, which was, it's the Jaws philosophy of monster movies, which is you don't show the monster too much, and then at the end you blow your budget at the end. You just go crazy.
Right.
And you know, that, I think money-wise, I think most monster movies do that just because it's cheap, but also because I think, you know, story-wise it makes sense. You kind of amp up excitement. And so like last year's Godzilla movie was basically just a giant cock tease for 90 minutes, and then the last 15 minutes or so was awesome. But, you know, but
and
again,
that's what makes it a good movie in your eyes. I understand. Okay, cool.
So for me, I really look at, like, were the takedowns cool? Was the fight cool? Was the fight well directed? How were the dinosaur stuff? How was that shot? And for me, that's why the end of Jurassic World is awesome, because I mean, it just, you know, tickled my pickle when it came to, you know, big toothy things wrecking shit up.
Right.
And, you know, and it was really cool I mean, I could just nerd out for hours about how awesome, you know, that was. But does that make it an objectively good film? No. that doesn't make it, you know, Citizen Kane.
Yeah, and so I guess from my perspective going into it without that I'm just here for the monsters sort of thing, I was just like, I may not be so adamantly against it as if I didn't see Mad Max this year. Like, just seeing Mad Max, which you know was such a great action flick, and then going to this, which was such a Hollywood action flick, I personally felt offended, and that's why I'm like as outspoken, because like everything was so formulaic, and to me like transparently formulaic, that it was like just made me mad. You know, I mean, you might not remember this because this was when the people interacted, but like there was like the way they introduced the family at the very beginning, which was like you know, here's the young smart kid, and then here's the older brother that's really just into girls, and like doesn't really want to look after his younger brother, and he's rebelling against his parents, and then there's like the scene at the airport when she's like handing him the ticket, like, here's the ticket. And it's like, to me, it's like he was looking at the ticket, but then they're like, no, really look like you're disinterested. So he's like, oh, I'm going to look away from the ticket. And then they're like, oh, please pay attention. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll take the ticket now. And I'm just like, what? Like no one who does that. And, you know, like, there was that scene where she's like, remember, if something chases you, run. And, I felt like that was there just for the fucking trailer, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But
and also the scene of the kid looking at the old dinosaur pictures through his fucking viewfinder thing, which I don't know why would a kid in 2015 have something like that.
Right.
I'm not sure. I feel like that was just blatant directorial...
Yeah, like
fapping, I guess.
I guess, you know, and then yeah, it went like from that, and then like the next scene, they were like riding in with all the people, and then it played the like Jurassic Park theme music, and it's like, this is when you should feel nostalgia. And it's like, make us actually feel it instead of just trying to trigger these cues for emotions for the person, and like, have a world that's interesting, not just, like, try to interact and get these feelings from me, you know? Like...
Yeah. Actually, you bring up a really good point, which is... So I've seen it twice. And the first time I saw it, I totally fell for all of the musical nostalgia cues. But the second time I saw it, it's interesting. So the big theme of the movie is that... And I guess you could say that it's a general thing with Hollywood movies now, which is that people are tired of... they make the comment that it's, you know, nobody's excited by dinosaurs anymore.
Right.
So we've got to make up this brand new dinosaur that's this super combination of all these other dinosaurs because, you know, everybody's bored of a T-Rex. And, you know, the directing reflects that in how, especially that the opening 35 minutes are shot. So, you get the sweeping score that's supposed, like you said, supposed to make you nostalgic, but the directing doesn't really show this island as being badass. It's all from the side. In like the first scene with the T-Rex, the kid's on his phone, and you can't see the T-Rex, and you really get this feeling that we've seen this already. Everybody's seen the first 4 movies. Dinosaurs are boring. And I know that's part of the plot. Actually, I think that style of directing, as much as I guess that the director was trying to reflect the story, I feel like that really hurt the movie. I feel like he should have just gone full tilt with these really showing the gate. Like, there's a scene in the trailer that's not in the movie of them entering the gate to Jurassic World, and the shot in the trailer is much more exciting than the shot of them entering the park in the actual movie.
Right. I mean, I think they just like did tickets and they did like that inside shot with like the hologram stuff or whatever. Which who gives a fuck about like the computers?
Really. Seriously, yeah, because the other issue, too, is, I wanted to see more of the park.
Right.
Because, in all the previous movies, the park is not open in the first movie. It never opens. And the second movie is on another island where all the dinosaurs were initially created, and it's like, so, there's just a wider variety, and then from there they'd ship the islands they ship the dinosaurs, onto Isla Nublar. I think Isla Sorna is the one in the second movie.
Right.
So it's like, this Jurassic World, the park is supposed to be in operation and has been successful for 15 years. I wanted to see the damn park.
Yeah, I didn't think, well, I didn't know about like the backgrounds of all that, and I didn't think about that. But yeah, you never really...
You don't see the park.
Yeah.
I mean, you really don't. I mean, you see, and I understand that they were trying to do this thing where they were trying not to show all the dinosaurs, and and they were trying to amp up the dinosaur action towards the very end. But I think the flip side of that is everything is from that bored kid's perspective, and I think they should have tilted the camera more from the perspective of the kid who's really excited about dinosaurs. Because you get the feeling of the kid who's just interested in the chicks, and that's what the movie feels like.
I guess.
I mean, that's how it hit me the second time I saw it, which, I was just excited about the dinosaurs in the first time.
You sort of did see, like, more occurrences of girls that, like, even when they were at the park, they would be at, like, the railing and just looking at the girls instead of what's beyond and in the railing.
Yeah, and people were covering up the actual dinosaurs. So, for example, the petting zoo was adorable, and I wanted to see more of it. But you see most of the petting zoo in a couple of shots that are just pans.
Right.
And then the kid's like, this is fucking boring, it's for children, we should move on. And then we actually move on. Like, it's like,
are you man, Kate?
Yeah, and I think you're supposed to feel most of the sympathy for the kid who's super into it, but really the film is shot from the perspective of the kid who's super bored.
Right.
And I think it's because the director just imagines that every kid now is so jaded by special effects movies that they don't give a shit, which I staunchly disagree with. I just think that's bullshit. I don't care how many movies have special effects all over the place. You're still excited when you see awesome dinosaurs doing awesome things, which is why the mosasaur scene works. And I think that's the one reason why it's such a centerpiece.
The alligator, dude?
Yeah, the big alligator.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool scene. It
was pretty cool.
It kind of makes me think, and I don't want to get too off topic, but it's like, it sort of reminds me of like the Final Fantasy series, where I feel like Final Fantasy 5, 6, 7, a lot of people like, I sort of don't like it, but like 8, 9, etc. Like, most of those had really solid storylines, but then like the more recent ones, I felt like focused so much on doing graphics, and then the sales didn't do well, and then they're like, but it's so pretty. And it's like, but there's nothing. There's nothing there. I didn't like that. There just didn't seem like there's anything there in this movie. Like,
oh, it's totally empty. Yeah, it's hollow.
And all of the characters were one dimensional.
Oh yeah.
They're the smart kid, the kid that likes girls, the aunt that's supposed to look after them, but really only focused on the bottom line. You know, like the Chris Pratt's cool. I like Chris Pratt. I think he really just played himself. Like, I don't really think it was like an acting thing, but like, fuck it, I like Chris. Like, you know, these are good. If you're gonna watch this movie for Chris Pratt, I would not judge you for that because he's a fun actor to watch. But yeah,
I mean, he's good. He just doesn't have much to do.
Yeah, but yeah, even his characters, like you know, they're dinosaurs. Like, isn't that cool enough? Like, you sort of like the hipster in touch with nature guy. And God, it's just my favorite part was probably that one scene where like they sort of made fun of how cookie cutter it was at the end when the guy was like, "I'll stay behind," and he like goes to kiss the girl, and then she's like, "I got a boyfriend." I love that scene because if they kissed, like I was like, "Are you really gonna go this far? Like, are you gonna push it? Like, are you gonna have them have a romance thing when they're like the side characters of side characters?" And I was like, "Oh, I have a boyfriend." I was like, "Oh, thank God."
Yeah, and actually, both times I saw it, the people in the audience who hadn't seen it before physically saw it, like physically groaned, I should say, before the punchline came up of, you know, "Oh, I have a boyfriend." You could tell they didn't like it, you know, and even I think the scene of Chris Pratt kissing Bryce Dallas Howard, or Claire, that's her name in the movie, I think that was excessive. I think that was fucking ridiculous because, you know,
I actually don't even remember that.
Yeah, it's
probably
after
blacked it out from rage.
Probably, yeah. I mean, it's after the pterodactyl thing.
Oh yeah.
And she saves him from getting his pretty face nipped by a.
Oh right.
I think, yeah, and you know, and then they do this weird kiss thing, and you know, I know he's cool, and I like Chris Pratt's character and all that, but I feel like they really shunted Claire's character because after that the kids are like, well, we want to go with this guy, he's awesome. And then she doesn't do anything cool until she releases the T-Rex at the end.
Right.
And then
even the T-Rex thing made me mad too. Like, I'm actually almost done with everything I have to say about this, but I just want to rant about the fucking T-Rex because there was like no mention, like maybe there's like subtle mention of him, like he was not a character in the fucking story until the end, and like the T-Rex was apparently really awesome. Meanwhile, the Indominus was like the T-Rex on fucking steroids. You know, it's like it just none of it made sense. They just brought the T-Rex for nostalgia, and then what? So like the Raptors were following Chris Pratt, and then like, oh no, plot twist, the lizards are fucking lizards, and then like. Like, you know, like the dominant reptile, it's like, oh, he's part reptile. It's like, whatever. It's like, they're all fucking lizards. And then, oh no, now for some reason it's not explained, the Raptors turned on the Indominus Rex. They're people again. They really care and have feelings. It's like, fuck you. Like, that's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. You know?
Yeah, he won back Blue's affection by taking the headgear off of her.
Oh, was that the cue? Was that like the?
Yeah, that was the cue, and because Blue was the one that he favored, like she was the beta, and he was the alpha. She was partial to him, and so when he took the headgear off of her, she was like, "Oh yeah, you're my bro," and I think that was supposed to be the scene. And I don't know why the other two fell in line, but they did. I guess because they're underneath Blue. Okay, I mean that doesn't make it better. Right. I mean, I'm not trying to convince you. That's just
I saw it, and that was not. I mean, maybe it was like, okay, I don't know, like this is ridiculous, but like, what? So you take off some fucking headgear, and now like the Raptors sitting there thinking, like, you know, all this time I've really felt morally oppressed by the way that these people have been treating me at this place. And now this guy, he finally understands me because, like, really, this headgear is kind of uncomfortable to me. A fucking lizard. And, you know, I really appreciated the removal of this. And now, you know, I'm going to fight against a fucking crazy giant dinosaur, part raptor, part fuck you, and then no, let's try to take this guy out. What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So again, this isn't to convince you, but so the T-Rex in Jurassic World is the same T-Rex that's in the first movie. So that T-Rex that's in that movie that fights the raptors at the end and all that, she's the same T-Rex in this one.
Like the actual like plot-wise or whatever?
Plot-wise, yeah. There's only one T-Rex on the island, and that's her.
Okay.
That's the same one. Now, they don't state that in the movie.
Didn't the raptors and the T-Rex work together?
Yeah, so...
Why would the T-Rex work with raptors that, previously fucked them up? You know? Listen, your daddy or whatever, he gave me this scar, fuck you. And then, eat him. You know? Because they're fucking monsters.
Yeah, so the only way you'd know that the T-Rex is the same one that's in the first movie is that the official website stated so, and then also on the promo art that featured the T-Rex, so the shit that gets on, snack boxes and stuff, the T-Rex had scars from the fight that she had with the raptors in the first movie. So that's the only reason you would know. Otherwise, it's not actually stated in the film.
It's not even brought up that it's a fucking character.
No, and at the very end, that last shot where the T-Rex roars, you can see that it has scars that aren't just from the fight that it just had. But otherwise, it's not stated in the film. So I went into the movie thinking, oh, sweet, I know it's the T-Rex from the first movie. I can't wait to see it. But nobody else would have known that.
Right.
And it's just not stated in the film. So I really can't count that as a cool thing because you would only know that if you were a super nerd for Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just another fucking T-Rex. And so the third movie, I think about 20-30 minutes into the third film. So when they introduced the Spinosaurus, the way they introduced the Spinosaurus was they figured that the best way to make everybody really understand that the Spinosaurus was the new badass for the movie was by it killing a T-Rex 30 minutes into the movie. So there's this really short, really terrible fight where the T-Rex just gets fucking toasted by the Spinosaurus. And, not only is the third movie just not a very good movie, but scene...
You're talking about the third movie, you're not talking about...
Third. Yeah,
okay, because I was like, did I really just forget that this happened? And what's the... the Spinosaurus is the bad... What the fuck's a Spinosaurus? Is that is that just another dinosaur, or is that a genetically modified thing again?
Yeah, so the Spinosaurus is a for real dinosaur. Okay. It is actually a real dinosaur. And the reason why it made everybody mad that the Spinosaurus killed the T-Rex in the third movie was that, okay, so from a plot perspective, it just sucks. It's really stupid. You spent 2 movies having T-Rexes be super badass, and then suddenly you kill one off in a really cheap way at the beginning of the third film is just really stupid. But
the one that was killed off wasn't the one that was in the first one, then?
Yeah, which is really confusing, because from what I remember, the second movie is on a different island, and the third one goes back to the island that this movie is on. But the T-Rex that gets killed is the same model of T-Rex that they used for the male T-Rex in The Lost World. So it doesn't look like the one that's in the first movie and therefore in Jurassic World. So I don't know. It's literally just thrown in.
Yeah, the fact that we're trying to actually figure this out, I think, is giving me a headache.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just thrown in there. So, but the other reason why it's really stupid is because the Spinosaurus was bigger than a T-Rex, but it was aquatic. So basically, the only fossil we had of it was in Germany during World War II, and it was blown up. So we only had the skull, and we only had kind of an idea of what its back looked like, which is it had a big kind of sail on its back, which is why it's called the Spinosaurus. So nobody really knew what it looked like in total. So that's why in Jurassic Park 3, the rest of it just kind of looks like a T-Rex, but bigger.
Right.
But in real life, they've discovered more skeletons, and it's basically been shown that the Spinosaurus was like a huge fucking alligator. It has a really weird body, and basically what it did was it ate fish. So what's stupid is when you look at it in Jurassic Park 3, you can tell that its face looks totally different. I mean, it's a long, sleek, kind of curved jaw that's designed for eating fish.
Right.
And even if you don't know it's designed for eating fish, you just look at it and you're like, yeah, well, it just looks totally different. Whereas the T-Rex is like a fucking bulldog. I mean, it's basically a giant mouth, and its head was designed to crush shit. It was like, it's just a completely different...
So the big alligator dude in the Jurassic World is the Spinosaurus?
Yeah, well, so in Jurassic World it's a mosasaur, which is actually only aquatic, so it was only in the water. Okay. Whereas the Spinosaurus was sort of 50-50. I mean, it could have gone on land, and it did.
It's like a frog.
But I mean, kind of. I mean, it wasn't amphibious, but it spent a lot of time in the water, and it just was a totally different looking dinosaur than a T-Rex. It just wouldn't have... Anyway, whatever. Anyway, so it just pissed off all the dinosaur nerds, pissed off all the T-Rex nerds. So in Jurassic World, when the T-Rex first comes out to fight the Indominus, there's a slow-mo scene of it crashing through a skeleton, if you remember.
No.
Okay, so it crashes through a skeleton in slow-mo. The skeleton it crashes through is a Spinosaurus skeleton.
Dude...
And
You've gone too deep for me.
So I'm just trying to explain the reason why it was such a fan servicey scene is because they were trying to redeem people who got really pissed off in 3, and it's the same T-Rex in the first movie. I mean, really, this movie is just fan service for dinosaur nerds.
Okay.
I mean that's really, and then the Indominus. The Indominus is the first. Well, I mean, they do say that all the dinosaurs are genetically modified because there wasn't really one that had its appearance unchanged from what it would have actually looked like, which is a nice way of explaining away how the Velociraptors really, that's not what a Velociraptor would look like. They were smaller. They had tons of feathers. I think a Deinosuchus is probably more similar to the size of what we see in the movies, but whatever. I mean, so it was a nice way of explaining that these aren't really for real dinosaurs. They're just all kind of made up. But
so today on Two Dimensional Champions, we discover that Julian really fucking likes dinosaurs.
Yeah, so this is like, it doesn't save the movie, but I will say, as another little note, so it took 15 years for them to do a 4th Jurassic Park. But this movie has been in planning for a long time. Right. So there was an earlier draft of this movie that didn't just have genetically modified dinosaurs, but had half-human, half-dinosaur hybrids.
Yeah, I heard that it went through like a lot of reworks. Like a lot. Yes. And thank God.
And actually, when Colin Trevorrow was brought on board, the first thing he said to Spielberg when he first saw the script was, "This is going to be a shit movie if you don't let me change some stuff." And then he changed some stuff, and we got what we got. And I actually think what we got was way better than anything I read about a potential.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, like, what we got was actually... I mean, it wasn't a great movie, but it was way better than the 30 different drafts that I saw floating around online that were all atrocious.
Wow.
That were all just, like, super, super bad. Does that make it a good movie?
Right.
No. Is it basically an extension of the first movie? Yes. I mean, really just, this movie is good because of what you remembered from the first one.
Right. And since I didn't really remember much from the first one, I just wanted there to be more animatronics. And to say,
I wish there had been too, because, I mean, I like the Raptor story. I like Chris Pratt and the Raptors.
The Raptors as pets?
Well, yeah. I mean, I actually liked how they did that, because you still felt afraid of them. But it was pretty cool.
Okay, I guess it was okay.
I mean, it could have been really cheesy, really, really, really cheesy, and it was just a little cheesy,
Right. That's sort of like, well, you could have gotten super AIDS, but instead you just got a little bit of AIDS.
Yeah,
just a touch.
Yeah. So fourth films and long-running franchises are not known for their quality. I'm looking at Alien Resurrection, just really shitty, the fourth movie is usually really bottom of the barrel. And I actually thought the Raptors were done well. Blue was awesome. I mean, that fucking slow-mo run that she did at the end with that dramatic music. Yeah, I got emotional. It was cool.
That's really part of the movie you're paying attention to. You're like, screw the people, just tell me more about the monsters.
Yeah, but seriously, screw the people. If I just look at the movie as a story about the humans, this was a horrible movie.
Yeah.
I mean, this was like, you could not get more stereotypical. And it was too bad because Claire, who was running the park, seemed like she was doing a really good job, but they didn't do anything with her character.
Yeah. Well,
I would have liked...
Well,
also,
they didn't do anything with any of the characters. What was it? Like, that guy, the guy who was in charge of everything, he died. Who gives a fuck that he died? Like,
just too bad because he was cool.
It wasn't that cool. I didn't care about him. Like, he was a goofy character or whatever, but there was no attachment, No.
Yeah, and also, interestingly, on the tram ride, I think before they get into the gyrospheres, the kids are talking about the divorce and how they're really sad about, or the one kid's really sad about the divorce. That's the last time that plot is mentioned at all in the movie.
Yeah.
Totally dropped. God. Completely dropped. And it's funny
and here's the call to all the broken homes. And here's the call to all the nostalgia fans. And, here's the call to the CG lovers. It's like... Like that. That's I feel like that. That's the announcement that's going on. Like,
oh yeah. I mean,
it's like, you like the T-Rex? Here's the T-Rex. Check out the scars. Like,
yeah. And what's weird is divorce has been a story in the 3 previous Jurassic Parks. It's like a background theme for some reason. I don't know why they keep going back to it like that, but they do. But they didn't do anything with it. It was. Yeah. I mean, the characters, at least in the first movie, I don't know, I felt like the characters were much more engaging, even in the second movie.
Yeah.
They weren't even that good. The third movie...
I didn't see the second or third, but the first characters seemed like legit characters. Like, like, they seemed like, I mean, I don't know, this is, of course, my mind of, like, a 10-year-old self or something like that, so I don't actually, maybe I'll need to watch it again, but, like, I felt like it was just, I don't know, better.
Well, yeah, actually, that's an interesting question. Do you think, so you as an adult hated this film,
right.
But do you think 10-year-old you, and actually considering the human story too, if you try to think about it from a kid's perspective, do you think this was like an awesome kids movie?
For the record, I just thought that the original Jurassic Park was terrifying. Not necessarily awesome. I think I spent the whole movie like peeking through my fingers. But it's hard to say, like, because just the technology as a medium didn't really exist in the same way that as when I was a kid. But I don't know. I don't know, because I feel like now I've sort of been desensitized to CG.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm can generally notice it fairly quickly, and if there's too much of it, I don't like it. Because it just doesn't seem. It takes me out of the story. Whereas I guess with animatronics, you can say like movements don't seem legit or whatever, but for some reason, like the Jurassic Park, like the eyeball like peeking in, for some reason, like I was terrified that there's going to be a giant T-Rex eyeball looking in at my window on the second story, like at my house. I don't know, and even as a kid, I don't think that as a kid I'd necessarily notice or care about these. Like, I wouldn't, again, be desensitized to these, like, obvious plot points. Obvious, like, oh, broken home, and then next, oh, nostalgia, and then next, like, oh, like, etc.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say.
Yeah, because I mean, I mostly ignored those plot points back then, and like I said, I ignore them now, too. Yeah. So, it just doesn't... But I do really agree with you with the CG. I really... Especially when the big T-Rex scene, the T-Rex looked better in the first movie.
Right.
It looked a little weird, it looked a little weird in this one. and it was because it was CG.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It just, I think the CG really. I agree with you. I don't think it did it any favors. And you could tell when they upped the quality of the CG for like close-ups of the raptors, and then during the nighttime battle, you could tell they dropped the quality a little bit.
Right, because they're all blurs.
Yeah, and that's really too bad because again, like these scenes that you're recalling from the first movie are good because it's fucking real. I mean, when the raptor goes up to the door and sniffs it, there's an actual raptor there.
Right.
Like you notice it. I mean, and that's why I think in the first movie there's a scene where they see a sick triceratops and they pet it and all that, and it's a huge animatronic puppet. And I think that's why that scene is so important to the first movie, is because it shows the viewers this shit is real. This is the actors, they're touching it, they're actually interacting with it.
They're actually going through its poop.
Yeah, they're actually going through its poop, and Spielberg really worked hard to make you believe that these animals were alive.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I would say, well, yeah, the first one really, I mean, as we were talking about, like with Mad Max really brings you into a world. The first Jurassic Park really brought you into a world. This did not bring you into a world. This did not bring you into another place. It sort of showed you, but there wasn't like here are the trees, here's the the poop, here is like the weird raven people walking through the swamp or whatever, like there's no information that was presented to you that like implied depth or history or time, like
you definitely didn't feel like the only time it felt like 15 years or 20 years had gone by since the first one was when they actually went to the part of the park with the old Jurassic Park.
And they said it's been 15 or 20 years. Like, but it just didn't, I don't know, feel.
Well, it didn't feel like the same island.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's.
I mean, I agree. I think the island felt alive in the first movie. And the second one, too, I thought it did a good job. This one, it just felt like we were in CG paradise.
Yeah.
And then Hawaii for a little while.
Hot second.
So was there any scenes in the movie that that you enjoyed, or was the whole thing just kind of like a chore? Or
yeah, I felt like it was mostly a chore. There was the one scene with when there's the hey, like I'm sticking behind, and she's like, fuck you, have a boyfriend or whatever that I mentioned before. Mm-hmm. But really that was it. And I was trying to find things that I liked, but that was pretty much. Like, I mean, the alligator eating the, like, was it a shark? What did he eat? Like a whale? Or I don't know. It's not big.
Yeah, he had a great white shark at the beginning.
Yeah, like that was kind of cool. There were some things that were kind of cool, but nothing that I liked. The only thing that I liked was the thing that I felt like related to me and the pain that I was feeling while watching that show. I was like, oh, good. At least they know that they're torturing us, Like, that's, yeah.
So I guess you don't think it's earned its #1 movie in the world status.
Fuck, man! I'm so why it should be Mad Max, Like,
it should be Mad Max. Yeah.
That's what that bothers me so much. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say on the topic.
Yeah, and I think we pretty much. I mean, I guess I don't have to ask this, but who would you recommend this to? Or would you even recommend it? Yeah,
no, there's no. I would not. Like I would actually, if someone told me they were going to see this movie, I would try to deter them.
Yeah.
But just because it's like I don't know why it's like in the summertime or whatever. It seems like the time when people just put out bad movies, and this is just another one of the bad movies. For some reason, it did really well. And that's, creepy to me. But, I just think it's another one of those summertime movies. It's not important.
And is there anything you would have done that you think would have fixed it? I mean, did you think about that at all, or was it just completely hopeless, or did you find yourself thinking to watching something and being like, if they changed this, or I would.
Yeah, I think they had too many characters. Mm-hmm. And they had so many small stories going on. There was no important story. Yeah. I think that maybe if they had like a few less characters, like maybe if the chick was also the owner, right? Yeah. And so you just took out that guy, and then maybe the scientist was also linked to the military guy or something like that, and you just sort of like because then that would have more depth to those characters if you put in like multiple different archetypes into like a person. That's the only thing I can really think of, because there were a lot of characters and none of the characters seemed to add anything. They didn't seem to have any depth.
Yeah, and the military guy who was trying to convince Chris Pratt to like turn the Raptors into war machines, he plays the Kingpin.
I know, I noticed that.
Yeah, and I felt like that was really disappointing to me, because the Kingpin he really does such a great job with Kingpin, and to see him, and Chris Pratt too, because he really did a great job in Guardians of the Galaxy and whatnot.
It was really the script. It was the script.
Yeah, oh yeah. You see these people who can clearly do more, who are just really, really trying to wring anything they can get out of the script.
Right.
It's just like a wet towel. They're just like, let me see if I can get a drop of anything out of this fucking thing. And here, I would recommend it to freaking monster lovers. I would recommend it to you, because you're the kid. Like, I would be like, man, it was really shitty, but there were some monsters. And you'd be like, yeah, monsters. I will say I am picky about my monsters, but I thought this passed.
Okay.
My picking. We can get into that another time, but yeah. Right.
All right, so that's pretty. Do you have any closing thoughts?
No, I think we basically tore that beast apart. I think.
Yeah. Like a raptor.
I will say one quick note: that chick who was supposed to be taking care of the kids. Wow, she did not deserve that. She did not deserve.
Another character I would remove.
Yeah, so she was the one who was on the phone the whole time, and she got picked up by like a bunch of pterosaurs, dropped into the water, fished out, and then she got eaten by the mosasaur with a pterodactyl.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah. That actually was the one. That was one scene where I was like, I think Thaddeus will probably like that.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't think anyone cared. Did anyone care? The audience didn't care.
Nobody cared. Yeah. People only cared because it was, that was a person.
Right. So why not just have it a random stand-in and then use that as, anyway.
Well, I think they should have killed one of the kids.
Sure.
I think they should have killed the older brother. He should have gotten taken out by a raptor, and then the younger kid, goes rogue.
Right.
Gnaws the ankles off of the Indominus Rex by himself.
Right, like he disappears into the woods, starts talking to himself, talking to the raptors, going literally insane, but able to survive in this insane world, like Mad Max.
Yeah, he just completely goes rogue.
There you go.
He keeps saying through the whole movie.
This is actually the sort of a prequel to Mad Max.
Oh yeah,
an alternate timeline. Figured it out.
This is where it's going. Yeah, because at the beginning throughout the whole movie, and I noticed this the second time I saw it, he keeps saying to people like, we just need more teeth. We need more teeth. We need more teeth. And that's what he's muttering to himself in the forest. It's like, we need more teeth. We need more teeth. He's just fucking eating.
Right, like gnawing like a bone of like.
Yeah.
God, we're such dark people.
I would tune into that for the second one, because there's going to be 4 fucking more movies after this.
God, because it made so much money.
And the budget for this one wasn't very big, so they actually Universal really made a lot of money off of this. So you've got.
It's not going to be like Jurassic Park 5. It'll be like Jurassic World 2, just so people know that it has to do with this popular connection or whatever.
Well, I hope they do Jurassic Galaxy and they just throw these fuckers into space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a T-Rex on a space station.
All right.
I think we killed this. Yeah, I think we're good with this. But yeah, so that was Jurassic World.
Don't watch it.
Send us. Don't. Yeah.
You probably have, and you're probably suffering like we did.
I have no defense for that. I really don't. There's nothing I can say to really disagree with that. So send us an email at twodimensionalchampions@gmail.com. Like us on SoundCloud. Definitely, and you have to do this because you want to. Give us a good, 5 stars on iTunes. Subscribe to us. Go to Tea Time with Godzilla and check out. I update stuff about the podcast on there and do other news bits. So yeah, just go to the website. Let us know how we're doing and let us know what you'd like for us to blab about next. So next time we're for real doing. Is it okay to try to pick up girls? What the fuck is the title again?
Something like that.
Yeah, it's something. Girls in a Dungeon.
And we're gonna do it soon.
Yeah, it's gonna be very soon. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you all later.